welcome back to What Steven Reads. My name is Steven. My reading is behind. I have not finished The Lilac People, and let's talk about that and the pressure of reading faster, to make videos, to read more books for videos. Since starting BookTube, I've definitely felt the pressure of having to read faster and read more books. And when I started it, I was probably on a spree of one book per week. And I was keeping at that pace, listening to some audiobooks, sometimes reading two books at the same time. And then I think I started getting into more serious books where I want to take them slower and absorb the information, absorb the story, the history, if that's applicable, the conflict between people and characters or whatever. And definitely the reading pace slows down because I just don't want to miss anything. And the amount of books I was reading definitely slowed down as time went on. And now we're in the beginning of December. I gave myself a challenge, 10 before the end, and I DNF'd some, talked about that last week, read a few great books, and then I was moving on to The Lilac People. And I'll be honest, I have not read anything else in that book for probably 5 days, maybe a little bit more since the last video. And I feel really bad about that. And there's this pressure on BookTube, I guess any genre on YouTube, to do that theme that you're doing for the videos and to consistently produce content. And if in BookTube, if you don't read, you don't have content. Obviously, if you have a library of books that you've read for years or decades or whatever, you come up with lists and you present a list every once in a while, 5 greatest standalone sci-fi or 5 best horrors from the 90s or whatever it is, but I don't have a backlog of reading. I've been reading more intently for the past 2.5 years, maybe, probably closer to 3 years, including self-help books in 2022, 23, whatever it was. So there's that pressure. And I would search online, just out of curiosity, how are booktubers reading so fast? How are they reading so many books? And it's impressive because some of them are reading like 5 books a week, over 100 books a year. And I'm like, how are they doing this? And, quick answers are that they are listening to audiobooks at 1.5 speed or 2x speed or whatever it is. And I can't imagine that they're absorbing all of the story and catching everything. They're cleaning their house or they're driving. And I've driven listening to audiobooks. I've mentioned before, if I am reading multiple books, one of them usually is an audiobook. And my attention is on driving. And I tend to drive carefully. I've probably slowed down a lot in my 40s and now 49. And I probably do miss a lot. And a lot of the books I do have listened to on Spotify, that's my platform for listening to audiobooks, have not been serious books. They've been romance books and maybe a couple of things that are slightly a bit serious. But I definitely miss some of the story or a plot point or a detail about a character. And I feel like the books that I have been reading are a little bit more serious. And I don't want to miss that information. I don't want that pressure to finish a book because I'm trying to rush through it. And I'm not criticizing booktubers for skimming these books at double speed and, vacuuming while they're listening to an audiobook or whatever the case may be. But I just don't think that's for me. I started doing BookTube for the love of reading, and I wanted to talk to people about books, which the best part of that are comments I get on the videos and their opinions of what I should read and what they've read, and that's been awesome. Like, so many people have recommended The Count of Monte Cristo, which I bought and I haven't gotten to it yet, and I hope to in 2026. And I wonder, the booktubers that are reading 100 books a year or more, even 60 books a year. I feel like 60, I had set my goal for 60. That's if I can read one book a week. And for the most part, that does happen as long as I'm not doing anything else. But I wonder if they're enjoying reading, or are they reading for the purpose of making content to say, hey, I read 5 books this week, and here is the list, and here's what I thought about them. And I feel like reading for enjoyment will cease to exist for me if I do that. And again, back to the driving, I don't want to take my attention off of driving to listen to certain details in the book. I wonder if they remember, after listening to these books at 2x speed, if they remember what the story was about. You know, often I hear people talk about books and they can't remember the names of the character. And I'm like that too. For me, it's more of an anxiety thing where when I'm talking to people, I can't even think of the name of the book I'm currently reading. And I can't imagine that everyone else is like that. And it's possible they are. I'm not judging anyone. But there's definitely a loss of information when you're listening to things while vacuuming or driving or whatever else you're doing while listening to an audiobook. Now, a lot of these people have children, and I get why they're listening to these things twice as fast. You know, they have to get through their day of their focus on their children or their spouses or their part-time job, and they want to do BookTube, or maybe they're not even on BookTube. They just have this goal of reading so many books, and I don't want to gamify reading. You know, I made a post on Reddit about part for a camera, and the next day or the second day, Reddit's like, oh, you have a 2-day streak. Like, why are you gamifying everything? I don't want everything to be a game. Reading is a hobby. It's something that I enjoy to do. And if you're keeping count of how many times I read on my Kindle, and even on Goodreads, giving me a virtual bookmark to say that I read this book before a certain date or within how many days, I really don't care about that stuff. I'm just happy to have read a book that I enjoyed, or happy to have read a book that I did not enjoy and tell you why I didn't enjoy it. I don't need a cartoon bookmark to have in my Goodreads history. And back to more serious books. The reason why I made the priority tree is because these are books that are more serious, and I'm not even sure if I should use the word serious, but they're historically famous novels that have amazing writing, and it's a goal of mine. I'm not gamifying it, but it's a goal of mine to read these books, and I think 2026 really is going to be about this priority tree. Not that I don't want to read other things like a cozy novel, and I've talked about this before. It's nice to read those once in a while before bed, but those are not things that I want to talk to you about on BookTube. I want to talk about the Count of Monte Cristo. And again, I am not a literary scholar. I didn't go to school for literature, but I want to tell you if I liked it or not, and if I didn't like something, why I didn't like it. Not that it was a bad book, it's just not something that hit well with me. So I do feel bad for the content. I did miss a week, and last week's video, I had it set to premiere on Saturday because I was looking at the analytics and it seemed like Saturday was the best time to post. The video before that has, I think, almost 600 views, which is awesome, and thank you for watching that. And the follow-up video, the update of my 10 before the end, I think only hit about 60 views, but I got impatient. It was set to premiere on last Saturday, and by Thursday, I got really impatient. I just wanted it to go public and have people watch it, and I really do think that messed up my algorithm within YouTube, and I guess it penalized me, and it didn't hit the viewership that I was hoping it would hit, and I think it still sits at around 60. I actually have not checked in the past few days, but it did not hit the numbers that previous 10 before the end video hit, which was, again, it was awesome, and I really do appreciate you guys watching. And my follower count or subscriber count is rising, and that's great to know that people want to watch me talk about books, which is why I feel so guilty that I'm not reading as fast as I was earlier on. But I guess the big question is, what are the reasons I'm not reading as fast? And I've already mentioned, that's my cat Chip. Hey Chippy, what's up? Hi. Was that I don't want to listen to things at 2x speed. I want to absorb what I'm reading. Hey buddy. But the other reason is this search for a new camera. I had mentioned I was looking at the Canon R50V, which is it's like the video version of the Canon R50. There's a button in front to hit record. It doesn't look like a normal camera, and I thought that would be great. I think the price for that was $650. I'm trying to remember, not including a lens though. I can't remember offhand, but that set me down the path with photography. And I've always loved cameras, and I've always loved photography, which is why I film these videos on the current camera I have, which is an Olympus OMD EM5 Mark III. And I have this camera because I had lenses from my previous camera, which was an EM10 Mark III. And before that, I started, I don't even know, like late 20s or early 30s. I cannot remember. It was an EPL1, which is a smaller Olympus that used the Micro Four Thirds lens system. And I've just stuck with it. So I was just doing research this time. Do I really want to spend money on a Canon that I'm going to have to buy a new lens? And yes, I could take that camera out and take photos with it, but that's not its intended use. It's more uses for video and just the way the handling of it and the shape of it. But yes, it's a full photography camera as well as video, but that's not the kind of camera that I would want to carry around and take photos. And my interests go up and down. I have several interests that rotate in my life. One of them is reading, photography, drawing, and that includes digital drawing, painting with watercolors, sketching, drawing, and they seem to rotate throughout my life. Sometimes I'm in the mood to do those things, sometimes I just drop it completely. And I always say, if I had stuck with one of these interests for more than a few months, I went to art school for interior design. If I had really focused my attention on drawing from age, when do you start college, 17, 18, up until now 49, I could be an expert in photography, I could be an expert in drawing or interior design, and just the way things went, it didn't happen like that. I should definitely be way beyond where I'm at with my skills. But yeah, photography has always been a revolving interest of mine that I've enjoyed. So I wound up saying I'm not going to get the R50V. I'm going to stick with Micro Four Thirds and Olympus, which is now known as OM System. There was a split off of a company. They took the photography part of it. They really should have kept the name Olympus. They didn't because it has a history, but they rebranded as OM System. And I wound up getting a camera that I think really fit me, and I'm going to show it to you now. So hold on one second. So this is the OM System OM3 Micro Four Thirds camera, and this is the lens I usually use to film my videos. But I did buy a new lens as well. It was pretty much like Cyber Week, Black Friday, Cyber Monday deals, and I got a new 17mm, which I'm filming this on, with a much wider aperture, 1.7, so this video should appear brighter. And this is a fantastic camera. I love it, and it has a little switch over here to change your effects, and I know that Fujifilm cameras are really popular right now. This could do like black and white, you could do art filters from here, you could do just some awesome effects, changing the color all from a little tiny dial over here. And it's still 20 megapixel, but there's features at it, very smart features like AI features. I'm not sure if they're referring to it as AI features, but there are ND things that you could do which lowers your exposure. I'm sorry if you're not in photography, and I promise we're going to get to some books in a moment. I just wanted to give you an update of why I haven't been reading so much. So I did buy this camera, and I really do love it. It's a beautiful camera. Has a retro style from the original OM3, and people who have been waiting for an update to the Olympus F or something it's called, where it had the little dial. So I'm absolutely having fun with it, and I really wish I lived in the city. Taking pictures where I am, people just look at you like, what is he doing? Why is he taking photos? When you're in the city, nobody cares. You just walk around and take photos and video, and people just walk about their routine and their daily life. But where I am, it's like, yeah, I was walking around taking pictures once of a really cool car, and this woman came out and she said, "What are you doing?" So I'm just taking a picture of your cool car. I don't want you doing that. Meanwhile, people walk around with cell phones and take pictures of everything. But if you have like an actual camera, forget about it. So that's been taking a lot of my time, and time I usually watch a lot of BookTube videos. I've been watching videos on this camera and recipes, because it does like recipes for different effects, and it's a lot of fun and I'm enjoying it. I'm going to use this for the next video. I was going to switch it now, but I'm going to be honest with you. I was in work all day. It's 11:30 at night. I have no sunlight coming in. I'm just using some lamps with Peter's light bulbs that he set up for me, and I'm tired, and I have to edit this. It's Thursday night in order to have it show on Saturday, to give that 24-hour period for YouTube to analyze the video and deliver it to people. Which, by the way, someone had mentioned that my video doesn't appear. They subscribe to me, but my video is not appearing to them when a new video comes out. So if you want to hit that little bell icon, and you'll be notified when a new video comes out if you're interested in watching my content. Hello, Chip. So that's the OM3 from OM System, and it's great. Like I said, next time I'm going to use that just to check it out. Now, over time, if I really stick with BookTube and really am concerned about the quality, I feel like I don't want to keep sticking this on top of the tripod and using it for BookTube. Maybe I will get the Canon R50V as time goes on. I just spent money on this. It's holidays, and I just feel like money is just flying out the window. It's insane. Then obviously I have my job. I get it. If people who are in BookTube and making income from BookTube and YouTube, whatever, that's awesome. But I do have a job, and I can't just film content and read all day as much as I would love to. So that's another reason, why I can't devote all of my time to reading. The video part, that's actually easy. You hear how I speak, and again, not a literary scholar, but the videos are easy to make. They're not complicated. Even the editing, now that I've gotten used to it, is really quick. The hardest part is just finding time to read, and I hope once the new year starts, we're going to get back to this and sticking to that practice of reading a little bit each day and reading books that I'm really just keen on getting to. So a big part of the reason why I'm into taking pictures right now and why I bought this camera is I wanted the new version of the camera that I have that's sitting on top of the tripod right now. And I'm at that age where I need to do things that make you happy. And I remember texting my mother saying, "Oh, I bought myself a new camera." And she's like, "As long as it makes you happy." And it does make me happy. For me, this is a toy. A toy that brings me joy to take out and take pictures and take some action shots of Teddy in the backyard. And it makes me smile every time I look at it. And that is very important to me. As you get older, you question things like, oh, should I save my money for retirement, or should I go on this beautiful vacation? You have to have a balance, and that's for you to figure out for yourself. But if I can get something that brings so much joy into my life once in a while, I say go for it, Not a Leica, though. I mean, the Leica is like $6,000. I mean, who wouldn't want that? So yeah, for now, photography took precedence over reading. And I just hope to find a balance in the new year between reading, art, photography, and also just the occasional video game. I mentioned, I think last week, I was playing a little cozy game, organizational game on my little ROG Ally, which is not here right now. But I need to find balance of all 4 or 5 things at the risk of not having as much content to make. So please keep that in mind. So, if I do wind up switching to a video once a month, at least you know why that's happening. And then obviously Christmas is coming up, so we set up the Christmas tree and some decorations. The tree looks beautiful. With that said, I think that we should talk about some books. So the Lilac people, I'm so sorry I'm not finished. You can see where my bookmark is. It's right over there. I really do want. It's a wonderful book. I'm really enjoying it. It's a historical fiction book, post World War II, about some changes that people went through in Germany, and I really think it's important to read these things, especially when they take place in other countries. You know, we think as Americans, I don't know where you're watching, you have your own perspective of post World War II, but life had to move on in every country that was involved. And this takes place in Germany, and I think it's enlightening to know what citizens of Germany went through after World War II, because they did not necessarily agree with, the Nazi regime and the suffering that they went through as well. And I think it's a wonderfully written novel so far, and I really can't wait to finish it. It's just that I have to get back in that groove again. Tomorrow I have work, in the afternoon I have a bunch of errands to do, so by next week I do hope to finish this book. And as far as book buying goes, I have not been going crazy buying a book, and it has nothing to buying books has nothing to do with cameras and photography. It's just that I'm trying to be more conscientious about not spending money on books. I have a lot of books over here I could read. I did pick up 2. That's not bad, considering the last time I did a haul was just a whole big pile of books. So just have 2 new books. Anoxia by Miguel Angel Hernandez. And it has to do with, which ironically, someone who is hired to take photographs of the deceased. If you've seen the movie The Others with Nicole Kidman, I love that movie. It was a practice of taking photos of deceased family members, and it was really eerie and creepy. And this is in current time, and it just sounded really interesting. And when I paid for it, the young man behind the counter, he said he's heard of the book. He didn't. He said I think he said he heard it was good. So I was like, all right, cool. Sounds interesting. So I got that. And then I picked up just only yesterday. This is called In the Distance by Hernan Diaz. And back to photography. The photo is absolutely gorgeous. I don't know where this photo is taken. Finalist for the Pulitzer Prize. And, he's the author of Trust, which I do have. I picked that up recently in... Oh, yeah, there it is. That's shocking. Recently in a thrift store. It was like $2 or something. And that was a book I was meaning to get to. Alright, so I bought 3 books in the past, month and a half or whatever it is. So, Trust, I'm sure you've all heard of. This just came out. A young Swedish immigrant finds himself penniless and alone in California. The boy travels east in search of his brother, moving on foot against the great current of immigrants pushing west. Driven back again and again, he meets criminals, naturalists, religious fanatics, swindlers, American Indians, and lawmen, and his exploits turn him into a legend. Diaz defies the conventions of historical fiction and genre, offering a probing look at the stereotypes that populate our past and portrait of radical foreignness, not foreigners, foreignness. So that sounded appealing to me, and I'll try and get to that. I am thinking about adding some books onto the priority tree. I just need to get more red and white paper, because if I do different colors, let's just say I put this on there and I use green. Well, I'm going to remember that it was the green paper, so I don't want to favorite and pick that, And that's it for now. I just wanted to give you an update, that I'm not reading as much as I used to. 2026, I do have reading priorities, and I hope to get them, and I hope you join me on this journey. And if you like me talking about cameras, please give me some feedback. Maybe over time this will change into a general lifestyle YouTube page. I don't know. I'd rather keep it focused on books, but I definitely love to hear your opinions. I also have a Ricoh GR3X. I could talk about that. I could share my photos. They're not great. Like I said, I should be an expert. I should be a master photographer at this age for being interested in photography for so many decades now. But I do have that camera too. If you want me to share some photos or share some artwork, and I reset up my Wacom because I did buy a new laptop, and that's attached, which has made selecting images for the thumbnails a lot easier with the pen. And please follow me on Instagram, the same name, What Stephen Reads with a PH. And if you do want to see some photos that I've been taking and have taken in the past and some artwork, that is What Stephen Sees, S-E-E-S, as in sees, and Stephen with a PH once again. And please like and subscribe, and definitely hit that bell icon if you want to see more content from me. Like I said, some people are saying that my video is not showing up, and I am definitely going to try and stick to a schedule of just having the upload on Saturday. I don't want to confuse the YouTube algorithm and just kind of push me off to the side, you know? Alright, I will see you next time, and thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Take care. Bye-bye.